L A B I
Yeah.
Y
Nope.
I L A B I
Yep.
A.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Labia.
Labia. Can you use it in a sentence for me?
I looked at her delicate labia.
What is up? This is Remarks.
This is Remarks, the podcast where we start our show with a piece of a reproductive organ,
Pretty much.
such as balls and or
Exclusively.
labia.
Yeah, or like, I guess, jizz would be like the
Like a byproduct.
a byproduct of a reproductive organ.
Right.
So, yeah, for sure. So like, it's all in that area.
Yes.
Pretty much anything to do with like the crotch
Area.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
maybe some titties, you know?
Who doesn't love a pair of titties?
I've never met a single person
I-
of any sexual orientation
Yeah.
who doesn't love a good pair of titties.
Like, even if you're not like, wow, I want to like do sexy things to those titties, you
Yeah.
can look at titties and be like, damn, like, wow.
Like, hell yeah.
Like,
Nice.
okay, good
For sure.
titties. Like, great.
Good. Solid. I'm enjoying it.
I'm having a good time.
I'm having a great time. Like, yeah, all around.
viewing these
Yeah.
titties.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I feel that way. Yeah. I mean, pretty much in like about all titties.
Oh, yeah.
Women titties, man titties, non-binary titties. Like,
All the titties.
all of them.
Yeah.
I'm here for 'em.
Everybody's titties.
Yeah, which is why everybody should just whip them out.
Yes.
Exactly.
We should be able to just have our titties out all the time.
True.
I went hiking the other day, and I take nudes every time I'm in nature because why wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have to.
And then, so I had my top off, and I was just like, God, I just want to, like, continue this hike with no top on.
Yeah.
It's so fucking nice.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
And
why
it's
does
so
my
dumb.
chest fat have to be illegal?
True. And like super sexualized for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But anyway,
What's
this
not
is Remarks.
Yeah.
What's not unfortunate is that my name is Taylor.
And I'm Phoebe.
And we're talking about art.
We are. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. This is another Art of the Revolution episode,
Yeah.
by the way.
I'm sure you heard
You heard the intro.
Yeah. Which we haven't heard the intro yet
That's
because
true.
I do that in post.
A little behind the scenes tip
Exactly,
for you.
yeah. Fix it in post.
I don't think I said titties with an articulation. Can you
True.
just fix that in post?
I can like put like a little bit of reverb on it. Like,
titties.
yeah. Titties. Exactly.
Oh my God. Someday we'll do like add like sound effects and shit.
Yeah, I want to get like a little soundboard.
Oh my God, we have to.
And then, yeah, at least, I mean, we'll for sure have an air horn sound because
we do that
we
so
do
much.
that on our own. So, but anyway, I'll take it away to begin with. We're talking about art, specifically art that we saw at the MOMA when we were in San Francisco. How long ago was that?
Was that October of last year?
Think so.
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was a good trip.
What a
Think
great
about
trip.
it all the time.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, Taylor and I were definitely the slowest museum walkers in the group because we were like, I want to enjoy everything as much as possible.
I wanted to read all of the plaques
Same.
and like
I'm a plaque reader.
I know, me too. And it's like, yeah, I feel like that was the thing we were the slowest at. I was for sure. I took a good while in the anarchist bookstore too. I was
my gosh.
reading the back of every book.
That was so amazing.
was
I
so
was like
fun.
weirdly.
You were kind of sick.
I got like
right?
yeah. I don't know what happened to me. I think I was like didn't drink enough water or something that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got fucking sick in the anarchist bookstore, so I had to go sit outside and breathe some fresh air,
Which makes
which
sense.
I was so bummed out about.
It was kind of hot too, if
It
I
was a
recall.
little hot, but
Yeah.
we'll go back. We'll go back.
We'll go back for sure.
Anyway.
So political art and propaganda is a powerful tool when used to organize and unite an oppressed group of people. We tend to have a negative view of propaganda these days because of all the ways it's used to control people by governments and ill-intentioned actors. This is not the case, however, with all political art and propaganda. Again, the term propaganda, it has a negative connotation now because of like all the bad propaganda, but it's not necessarily a bad term. It's just like political art that is pushing a message, you know?
Sure.
A few months ago, we went to the MOMA, or the Museum of Modern Art, in San Francisco, and saw a collection of art created by the Black Panthers for their magazine, and posters to spread awareness of their message, as well as to organize and unite other Black folks from around the country. Before we jump into it, the art, let's give a little context. The Black Panthers were a far-left American political party that lasted from 1966 to 1982, and would not only arm themselves with weapons to defend themselves from racism and police brutality, but also used art in the form of pamphlets, posters, and the newspaper, The Black Panther, to spread awareness. The art of the Black Panthers was guided by Emory Douglas, who was the Minister of Culture for the party. Based.
Mm-hmm.
He was based as fuck.
Yeah.
Douglas was incarcerated in the 50s and early 60s at the Youth Training School in Ontario, California.
Love that it's called a school.
Yeah, the Youth
Training School.
Yeah.
That really just comforts me.
Exactly, yeah. I'm sure that there was not any bad things that happened there.
Which, side tangent, I was just listening to a TrueAnon episode where they were talking to a Native person about the schools in Canada, you know, like a couple years ago or maybe last year, they found like all of these kids' bodies. Anyway, but like it's imprisonment, but it was these schools, you know, disguised schools to like genocide Native American people, or
pretty much,
I guess Indigenous people, because that was Canada. Anyway, please continue your story.
Native North American, but yeah,
true. But yeah, just there's so many situations where things are called school, and it's like it's a prison.
Oh, for sure,
it's a torture prison.
Well, and it's basically, I know with those ones is basically like you either act, you know, white, or you don't, or like you know, either die or we make you act white.
Yeah, exactly,
like
exactly.
The whole idea, yeah. So yeah, pretty bad. But anyway, so Douglas, he was incarcerated as a teenager. While being incarcerated, he got involved with the printing shop at the youth facility and took an interest in graphic design. He would later go on to study graphic design at the San Francisco City College. He would also take an interest in the Black Arts movement, which was the artistic branch of the Black Power movement. That was Moonshine. She's fighting under the door. Hey.
That scared the shit out of me.
Stop it. My roommate's cat Dorian and Moonshine like to tussle.
Oh.
As you can see.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
All right, Moonshine. Can't you see we're doing a podcast,
We're a
Moonshine?
little busy, girl.
Come on. Anyway, his art and activism caught the eye of Bobby Seale, the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. From here, Douglas would go on to create most, if not all, of the art we're going to see and discuss today, as well as inspire a whole generation of young Black activist artists. And we will get into it. But, of course, with... Of course, with art, we do have to view the photos.
That is true.
All right. So the first one that we have coming up is actually is a kind of a two for one deal, if you will. It's called Power to the People, All Power to the People. There was one that we had seen in the MoMA, and then there was another one that was like very similar in its like attributes. Let me find it. There we go. So this was the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
That's one of the ones you sent me. And then there was another one that looked like so.
Oh,
so
wow.
very similar. And this one we didn't see at the MoMA, but again, it was kind of the same. Yeah.
Wow.
So this, to describe it to you, this actually contains two. It depicts a police officer who is a pig or a farm animal surrounded by a group of people holding guns at the officer. The text on both images says all power to the people. I was actually able to find a New York Times article interviewing Douglas himself about some of his art pieces. So what better source than the artist himself to tell us about these photos?
Amazing.
Douglas said Newton and Bobby Seale would come to San Francisco. So those are the leaders of Henry Newton and Bobby Seale would come to San Francisco, and they would have run-ins with the police. And as I'm sure you can imagine, that it wasn't very cool or fun for them to run into the police in the 1960s. They began calling the police pigs and asked Douglas to translate that sentiment into art form. Douglas states he turned the pig into a cultural iconic symbol of police, and it's still what is used today to refer to police is pigs.
That's crazy.
That's kind of where it started.
Like, can you imagine? I mean, the impact that that he has had. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is a direct quote from Douglas. Out of their conversations about the police came the definition of a pig, a no-nation beast that has no regard for the rights, the law, or justice, and bites the hand that feeds it. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of what he said. Yeah, what he said about creating these pieces of art. And of course, all these pieces of art will be on the Instagram.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The Twitter.
We won't leave y'all blind.
Definitely not. But you can also look them up right now.
It's true.
Because if you do like Black Panthers, All Power to the People, you'll
see
these
it.
art pieces. Yeah. The next one we have, let me pull this one up, is one of my faves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this next photo is a picture of a black soldier crying while while on his military helmet, we see a collage of police brutality against black people that was happening in America. There is a picket sign above him that reads, "Our fight is not in Vietnam," and some text to the side that says, "Free the GIs." Mm-hmm. This, of course, went to show the struggle against abuse, murder, and lynchings or went to show that the struggle against all those things was not caused by the Vietnamese people, and the Vietnam Wars was not theirs to be fighting when black folks were fighting their own war back in the country that they were deployed from. Douglas says the tears symbolize the pain and suffering he heard from those in the struggle or in the military. This was, of course, meant to capture the sad reality of drafting and deploying black men to fight for the supposed freedom of another country while they are being treated as second-class citizens by the very state that they are supposed to be sacrificing themselves for.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know. Yeah, like, this one is probably one of my favorites of these pieces just because it's so, like, poignantly points out, like, how fucked up it is to be like, yeah, go fight and die for us.
Yes.
When you don't even have rights in our country, or you're again viewed as a second-class citizen in our own country.
I mean, it's just another form of slavery.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you talk about the piece that we saw with like the draft card that it was kind of a more like modern piece?
I actually did not.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
If you want to talk, bring it up.
So we saw this piece that was like this guy had made with his draft card in it. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can quickly find it. I
think you did send me the picture though.
I did. Oh, that's right. I totally did. We can find it right there very quickly. But anyway, and it was just like, oh, here it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can see like peeled away. There's a draft card. I think it's on a vinyl record.
It's like a
etched
circular
aluminum. Okay, yeah. And then it's a picture of like this black man sort of reaching towards the card. Anyway, but so it was his draft card that he got for the Vietnam War. And so it's like him and his brother, and they're reaching towards you, and this piece of leather is like shaped like a tombstone, and then he's like flipping off the draft card, and it says the draft card, the name on it says John Doe, and then like the amount of time that the person is serving says forever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, oh my gosh, I just remember both you and I were like standing in front of that thing for forever. Yeah. We'll post a picture of that one as well, because God, that was a amazing piece.
It was a really good one. Yeah, and I don't know, and it's just like it's one of those things that like you know about, but just seeing like the artwork, especially from black people who were around at the time, is like very poignant, and you're just like, wow, like I don't know, it just hits different when you like see it, and you're like, oh yeah, that was pretty fucked up.
That was like kind
of insane.
And it's still here, still happening,
still for sure happening.
I guess not drafted, but I mean forced in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they prey on low income communities. So, but yeah, so. Anyway, the next one we have is it's called New Era, Same Voice. Yeah. That was me beatboxing.
Beatbox through the dead air.
Yeah. Just something to like keep you entertained, right? So this art depicts a group of black people armed with guns in a sort of militia shooting at a bunch of pigs running away. from them with the text "seize the time" written above it, or written above the altercation. There's also a picket sign seen among the militia. And the caption on the New York Times article says "New Era, Same Voice." This piece might have been called "Seize the Time." It didn't say specifically. But Douglas stated that the struggle of the movement needed a sense of urgency. The black people in America could be wiped out at any time, and the oppression could continue to get worse. So he was portraying the need to stand up and fight right now, not waiting for somebody else to do it or to organize it, but to stand up and fight back against the corrupt state at this very moment. He also was depicting that even ordinary members would be or could be heroes and take action, which is why you see like lots of different kinds of like weapons that are being held. You know, there's guns, there's knives, there's a picket sign, there's a torch, and then there's a bunch of different kinds of people. Like there's women, there's some children, there's, you know, an adult black man. So it's, you know, kind of saying like everybody needs to stand up and fight this fight. Like we're stronger together, obviously. But yeah, so I think the inclusion of the different kinds of weapons and even the picket sign are showing, even though that each individual has different means of what they can do in a revolution, all are needed for that revolution to be successful. Each has a job and a role to play, and that's why we see a variety of people from different ages with different weapons all fighting back against, again, the pigs obviously being police in that scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff.
On to something a little less intense. We have another one that we specifically saw at the MOMA, which was the free breakfast.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This one's pretty simple. It depicts a young black child eating breakfast at a table with the text "Breakfast for Children" in one corner, and the text, "If it wasn't for Huey, there wouldn't be a free breakfast for children program," as like a quote there. The Black Panthers were known for many things, but a huge part of what they did was community outreach programs. One of these programs was a free breakfast program for tens of thousands of children throughout the nation before they went off to school. I saw some quotes saying that it was the first time that some of the children had ever eaten breakfast in their entire lives.
Jesus Christ.
Just, you know, again, the nature of the poverty that was around at that time.
Yeah.
Now, Phoebe.
Yes, Taylor.
Would you say that giving free breakfast to children is generally a good thing?
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good thing.
Like a nice and kind act that shouldn't make anyone mad?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. J. Edgar Hoover, leader of the FBI, would disagree with you.
God damn it.
He called the program, and I quote, "potentially the greatest threat to the efforts by authorities to neutralize the Black Panther Party."
Oh my God.
The greatest threat was giving kids breakfast.
Little kids eating breakfast.
Yeah, good stuff. In some states, agents even went door to door telling people that the free breakfast program would teach their kids to be racist.
What?
Because the Black Panthers ran it. Or that the food was infected with venereal disease.
I'm genuinely speechless.
It's insane.
Oh my God.
Which, of course, played into the stereotype of black people being promiscuous and diseased, and also, unclean in that way. But, of course, none of that ever happened or was real.
Yes.
Food was perfectly fine.
Yes.
There was no major issues with it.
No, they're fucking feeding kids so that
feeding kids breakfast.
Can live and go to school and like actually learn because they're not starving.
Yeah, and there was other testimonies of teachers and people saying like, yeah, literally the kids were a million times better in school, could focus, didn't have hunger pains, weren't screaming and upset, like, and it's like, obviously if you're eating a meal and you're not hungry, you're going to be able to do better in school. Like that's just makes sense, right? Like,
and like, I mean, most important meal of the fucking day. It's
exactly.
not false. That is a true thing.
It's real. It's real.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So FBI, cool guys.
Great institution.
Love it. Favorite 3-letter institution. Close second is the CIA.
Oh, for sure.
Because we love that.
Yeah.
I will say, like, sometimes it's funny. We should do an episode of like FBI versus CIA to see who's done more insane shit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because they've both done so much insane shit.
They're so crazy. They just like do whatever they want, and whatever they want is like the weirdest.
Is the weirdest thing.
Most unhinged shit.
And it's like, how did you think this was like productive?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
It's so like the song "Louie Louie" by, I think it's called The Kingsmen. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. It's Louie Louie.
Yep.
That one. The FBI, the way that he sung, like it's like really gargled. You can't really hear it.
Uh-huh.
And parents started reporting that the song was had like profanity in it.
Oh my God.
So the FBI did a 2-year-long investigation into the song "Louie Louie" by the Kingsmen, that version specifically.
Oh my God.
And the funniest part about it is eventually they were like, okay, there's not any profanity in this song.
Mm-hmm.
And it like became this big cultural like, scare about this song or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the funniest part about it is in the background, the drummer does drop his drumstick and says fuck at one point. And it's like, you can't really hear it. It's like, very much in the background.
Yeah.
But there was actual like a profanity in the song,
That's
quote unquote.
really funny.
Which like is funny because I'm like, I wonder if like old ass FBI agents heard like music today, if they'd just like die immediately on the spot.
On impact, yeah, for sure.
Just keel over and fucking die.
We should also talk about the Satanic Panic at some point, and like how people would be like playing records backwards and it says "I love the devil" or whatever.
We should talk about that because that's 100%. Super interesting.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what doesn't play records backwards and accuse preschool teachers of sacrificing children to the devil for satanic rituals that turns into a giant witch hunt that ruins the lives of multiple people.
Is it the fine people at Anchor Podcast Distributing Service?
It absolutely is. It's also by White Claw.
White Claw. No laws when you're drinking claws.
The only seltzer that 100% of anarchists recommend.
Absolutely.
Because there are no laws.
We are having the watermelon flavor today.
True.
Cheers by the mic for the...
It doesn't really make a good sound.
Well, anyway.
Well,
we're having White Claws, you guys.
White Claws don't cheer well. Anchor, not sacrificing babies that we know of.
Exactly.
And listening to this ad.
Enjoy it.
Ads. Alrighty, we are back. We're talking about
so many things.
A lot of things.
We
actually
got a lot in over the break.
A lot of things. Phoebe's BF Daniel, mysterious character Daniel.
Yeah.
Didn't know that there was a bisexual
he had
flag.
Literally no idea. No idea. I sent him a meme including the which he's a bisexual, by the way, for the record. And I sent him a meme with the bisexual flag, and he goes, "Wait, I don't get it. What kind of flag is that?" And I'm like, "Bitch, it's yours.
It's literally yours. It's mine. It's ours."
Your culture. And then he was like, "Oh my God, how many flags are there?" And I was like, "There's for like pretty much every single
anything,
basically. anything under that LGBTQ,
AI,
plus,
etc.
Yeah,
for sure. Anyway, back to our vibes here.
Yeah.
So this photo, the next one we have is Arming the People.
Yes.
I think I kind of just named it because it doesn't really have a name, but this photo...
I feel like that's a good name.
Yeah. This photo is of a black man holding a machine gun of some kind with the text next to it that reads, "Our people's army should be built up into a revolutionary force, equipped with indefatigable," I think is the word.
Okay.
It's spelled INDEFATIGABLE.
I don't know that I actually know that word at all.
Me neither.
To be quite honest.
Indefatigable spirit of fighting through thick and thin for the party and the people, into an iron army, each member of which is a match for 100 enemies.
Shit. Is
what it says there. So, another key mission of the Black Panthers was to arm its people in defense of racism and police brutality. In 1967, 30 members of the party protested on the steps of the California State House armed with 3.375 Magnums, 12-gauge shotguns, and 45 caliber pistols. And announced that it was time for black people to arm themselves. This, of course, got white racist old guys shitting their pants and led directly to Ronald Reagan signing the Mulford Act in California. This act banned the open carry of loaded firearms and banned open carrying altogether at the state capitol building. So,
Ronald.
Big conservative icon Ronald Reagan passed huge gun control laws when black people had guns.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Sounds about right. The last one that I was going to talk about that I didn't really write anything for, I just didn't get around to it. So we're going off the cuff here, y'all. Is this photo, which is a picture of a black man with a injury to his head, it seems, standing in a jail cell while other pictures of black people are outside of the jail cell and there's a cockroach on the wall. And this was another one we saw at the actual MOMA.
Yeah.
And the text above it says, "Why must black people look at each other through prison bars? Where is our freedom?" And, you know, again, you probably can kind of deduce this yourself, but there was a lot of black people who were imprisoned unjustly. And not only imprisoned unjustly, but were targeted way more than white people would have ever been targeted. You know, racial profiling and different things like that police love to do. And even, you know, back then, before like the quote unquote like mass incarceration started, you know, black people were still disproportionately criminalized for things that, again, white people did just as much. And in a lot of cases, things that they were framed for. So
Well, and especially if you had any kind of involvement in the Black Panther Party. I mean, you could be the fucking guy feeding free breakfast to the kid and you're arrested.
Yeah, the FBI is telling people that you're spreading venereal disease. Like, so yeah, I mean, it pretty fucked up. And again, we were talking about it before the episode, but like Phoebe's story is a little bit on the bummer side of town.
Yeah, at least, yeah, in the sense of like the way that political art has kind of been co-opted into this like liberal do nothing sort of sense.
Attitude.
Yeah. Versus like the pieces that Taylor's talking about are like direct action pieces, you know?
Yeah, and what I had kind of said before is like the Black Panthers made art off of what they were doing in the community.
Yes.
Not trying to inspire people to do something in the community.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think that's like the order it should be in, is like do something and make the art about it to get people like to grow awareness of what you're doing versus make the art in the hopes that it gets someone to do something.
Right.
You know?
Right. Because it's like, if you were inspired enough to want to make art about this, maybe you could help
whoever you're helping
happen. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, again, all these pictures will be on our Instagram and our Twitter, so you can view them yourselves. But yeah, and I just suggest like look up some of the Black Panther magazine art, because it's, again, really poignant stuff, and like it's nice to know that like, oh, they were actually like doing things.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though the FBI literally was fucking them up constantly, which is another thing, another fucking side tangent is like,
my God,
whenever an oppressed group literally tries to like create their own space and their own like, you know, community outside, because they're like, oh, the government doesn't like us or want us here, so we're going to go and create our own community. Then the government's like, actually, you're doing too well, so we're gonna fuck you up a little bit.
So you're not allowed to have anything.
Exactly. It happened with the fucking Black Panthers. It happened with fucking Stonewall. Like, you know, again, it was a gay bar, and police started fucking shit up, and then they were like, yeah, we're gonna riot, like, in a gay bar, a place where they have specifically set aside to be like, this is where we go because you hate us. Like, it's so fucking insane. It happened in
fucking Seneca Valley. It happened in Tulsa. Like, again and again and again, these people are saying, okay, we will segregate ourselves. Here's a space we've made. No, you're not allowed
to do that.
You're not allowed to live in the society that we currently have. You're not allowed to make your own. Basically, they want you all dead.
Basically, fuck you. Exactly. Yeah. And it's so frustrating. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And I wasn't even there.
Exactly. Right. I will say another thing too. When we were looking at like the ones that were kind of more like postery of this art in the MoMA, it just gave me fucking chills because it looks exactly like some of the protest posters that came up like in 2020. Like exactly, especially. There was like a local print company, or not even company, local print like collective in Salt Lake called Local Propagandists, who was making a lot of the posters for the rallies in 2020 that look so similar to these posters that the Black Panthers made. And it's just like, fuck, dude. Nothing has changed.
Not a goddamn
Not a
thing.
Single thing has fucking, we've had no movement forward. It's so insane.
It's so insane. And I don't know. It's like, it's like what you had said about when we were doing that one episode on NWA and how they were like, it's kind of a bummer that our song "Fuck the Police" is still relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like the same thing. It's like, it's a bummer that like this artwork is still so impactful because the same struggle is still being fought.
Exactly.
Fucking 60 years later, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
I know.
And it's like, and again, that's what's so frustrating about when like the government cracks down so hard on like the Black Panthers or the fucking protests in 2021 or 2020 is like people are trying to set up their own system, their own way of doing something, or, you know, again, protest for a change, and then it gets squashed by the state. Like, super, I mean, it was insane the way that they like clamped down on the protests. Like,
oh my God.
I mean, in Portland they were white vanning people off the streets. Like,
I mean, they called the National Guard to Salt Lake, and our protests were not even that crazy. Like, nothing compared to what they were doing in other states. So it's like, I mean, literally the first big like Black Lives Matter in 2020 protest that we had here in Utah. The next day, the National Guard was out everywhere in Salt Lake. It was so crazy. Fucking insane. Which is why also it's frustrating. What I'm about to talk about is like this like virtue signaling fucking shit that people are doing, where it's like, this is a waste of time.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's frustrating. And again, it's just because even like some of the peaceful protests, and you know, I was talking to you about this over the week, like even some of the peaceful protests I've been to this week, earlier in my protesting life, like a lot of them, it's just like they like do these things, like they do these demonstrations, which is great, and I love being there in solidarity, but they're just very like worried about bothering people, you know, like they say like there's comments about like, oh, like we don't want to disrupt this thing, and I'm like, isn't that the point of why we're here? Is a disruption, right? Like, isn't that what we're doing?
And I mean, we don't need to get too into how some of those maybe are organized by ops, but
it's potential. Yeah, I don't know, but
anyway,
it's just it frustrated me a little bit because I was like, I think everybody's safety is great, but at the same time, we're here to be mad about something, right? Like, and if we're following the rules and not causing a ruckus, then we're basically not doing anything at all.
Right, exactly.
And that's what's like so frustrating to me. I don't know.
Agreed.
So
full agree.
The moral of this episode: cause a ruckus.
Exactly. If you're gonna make art, make it loud.
Make it loud, and I don't know. There was like this. A friend said this to me once, and I feel like it stuck in my head, but it's like, the only way your art will ever mean anything is if you set it on fire or something like that.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, shit.
Jesus Christ.
That's very, very profound, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
So,
damn.
There you go.
Love that. well, let's talk about some art that certainly was not on fire.
Definitely not on fire.
So yeah, as Taylor said, we're talking about pieces that we saw with our own eyes at the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco. So they had an entire section that was based around immigration, and then they had like a section of that section that were pieces focused on the border wall between the United States and Mexico. So before I get into some of the pieces I saw, I want to give a little history on, quote unquote, the wall. We're definitely going to do an episode in the future on the horrors of what the U.S. has done and continues to do to Mexico. But now, we will just focus on where this wall came from. So, after wars with Mexico after land and James K. Polk's belief in the so-called manifest destiny.
Love it.
So good. Ugh. Mexico eventually was forced by the U.S. to surrender a massive amount of land that is now all of California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and Utah, and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Oklahoma, and Kansas. This is obviously a huge mass of land and a big loss for the Mexicans. This land seizure formed the new U.S.-Mexico border, and this is where the growth of the wall begins. So, following the Mexican-American Wars, the passage of Mexicans and Americans across the respective border was actually not very restricted. Everyone could pass freely across, and it wasn't until Chinese immigrants began attempting to cross the border, again, story for another time, that the U.S. started to crack down on immigration and border restrictions.
So before the Chinese people and immigrants started to cross over, could you say that us in Mexico were manifest destinies?
I hate it.
Sorry, I had to. I thought of it and I had to say it.
We were, I mean, maybe. There's a lot,
Maybe not destinies,
a lot of murder, but like
there
manifest,
was less,
like, chiller than it is now. Maybe?
Manifest situationship, like, I don't know. Anyway, I just thought of manifest destinies and I like had to say
had to get it out. It was like bursting out of your chest.
So I had to like shoehorn it somewhere.
No, I loved it. And so it wasn't until in World War I, a telegram between Germany and Mexico that suggested an alliance between the two countries caused the U.S. to freak out a little bit. And this is where we saw the creation of the first sort of border patrol. It was Texas Rangers and soldiers who were assigned to guarding the border between the two countries. However, it wasn't until 1993 when friend of the pod, Busy Klizzlers.
Busy Klizzlers.
AKA the man who literally cannot stop harassing women or cheating on his wife.
It's like,
he literally physically cannot stop doing it.
It's like breathing for him.
Yeah.
He just like has to, but like, he has to be creepy and use his like power imbalance to sleep with young secretaries.
Or he'll like die.
Or his heart will stop.
He became president and felt the pressure to ramp up the war on drugs and the need to be tough on crime. And that is when we saw the first official fences go up between Mexico and the U.S. 14 miles of fence went up between San Diego and Tijuana. And then in 2006, under George W., the Secure Fence Act of 2006 was signed. He claimed that this fence, it's so bad, he claimed that this fence would, quote, help the American people, would make our borders more secure, and was an important step towards immigration reform.
I think that, well, I don't know, like, usually when you say reform, you mean, like, it's getting better, but that seems like you reformed it to be way worse than it was.
It's just, like, reform to, like, not do it
like
anymore.
Evil shit,
basically, yeah.
And, like, maybe I'm just, like, a dirty commie who, like, doesn't think borders and imaginary lines in the ground should exist.
Yeah.
Because people are all just fucking people, you know?
Yeah.
And should be able to go anywhere
and, like,
on
countries
this
are
fucking
genuinely made up, as we can see.
They're super made up, and like, and everybody should just be able to walk wherever they fucking want because it's a fucking rock floating in the middle of nowhere. Like, but sorry, that's just me.
Yeah, and you might just be
the dirty
stupid, dirty commie, but you know,
very, very true. Yeah.
So the Secure Fence Act of 2006 Quote, authorizes the construction of hundreds of miles of additional fencing along our southern border, authorizes more vehicle barriers, checkpoints, and lighting to help prevent people from entering our country illegally, authorizes the Department of Homeland Security to increase the use of advanced technology like cameras, satellites, and unmanned aerial vehicles, aka drones, to reinforce our infrastructure at the border. So basically, around 2006 is when border shit started getting like really fucked up. Yeah. So an additional 700 miles of fencing was approved, and construction on this fencing was completed in 2011. In 2006, Congress had allocated $1.4 billion to the project. However, the projected cost over the next 25 years, including vehicle and surveillance equipment maintenance and fence maintenance, was forecasted to be about $50 billion. So I'm so glad that this is what we are spending our money on.
Very cool and good. Again, like, who needs kids to eat breakfast when you can, like, build a giant wall in our fence because, you know, you're racist.
Because that's never gone wrong before. Cough, the Wall of China.
Yeah.
You know, this was yet another unnecessary and racist project by the U.S. that is costing the taxpayers massive amounts of money.
Yeah, we pay for a lot of racism.
It's crazy. Really do.
It's crazy, and it's also insane that I don't get a realistic or practical say in what my tax dollars go to.
Yeah.
I get maybe like the barest minimum of say in like voting for who the president is and like my local leaders, but at the end of the day, there's no stopping my money from going to support this.
Yeah, right. Like, you have no, and oh my god, like, that's what fucking gets me, is you have absolutely no allocation of where literally the money that you earned goes. A, B, you don't even get to know. Like,
no.
I was talking to somebody a long time ago. It's like, I would love an itemized receipt.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that'd be great.
Of where did my, like, by the way, what I just had to fucking pay to the federal government, or maybe state, no, it was federal and state, actually. So both combined governments, for simply being a fucking small business owner, was over $400,000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's insane. $400,000?
No, I'm sorry.
Did you say that?
Over $4,000.
Sorry, maybe I just misheard you.
I might have said it wrong. Over $4,000.
Still, though, as a small business owner, nonetheless, I just have been drinking. So.
I mean, it happened. But yeah, and like, yeah, that's $4,000 is so much money for me.
A lot.
Like,
well, and that's like, you're a freelance.
Yes.
I'm blanking it. Hairstylist. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I don't know, like,
yeah,
$4,000, especially all at once, like.
That's,
who has that laying around?
Yeah, like, that's, oh my god.
Yeah. Anyway.
Insane. So, all of this brings us to the election of 2016. We all remember Donald Trump's lofty campaign promises: drain the swamp, end Obamacare, grow the economy, throw Hillary in prison, you know.
Wait, who's Donald Trump?
Oh, God. I mean, we don't need to get it.
All right.
I'm happy you don't know.
Yeah, I've only really paid attention to like 2015-ish.
Yeah.
And I assume that like another cool Democrat went into office and like
a really like hip, relatable
like
Democrat.
A hip, relatable. Like, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if I had to guess, I'm pretty sure Bernie Sanders won 2 years in a row, right?
Totally. Totally, babe.
It's so, yeah. No, you're so right. It's crazy.
I'm just going to tuck you in bed. And I'll
ignorance
teach
is
you
bliss.
about the last 4 years. Okay. But, of course, one of Trump's most memorable campaign promises was to create an impenetrable, physical, tall, beautiful, powerful southern border wall. So many adjectives in there.
I love that.
Which is like literally verbatim what he said about it.
Crazy. It sounds like he's describing like a really buff dude that you want to like sleep. Like, I feel like if I was to be like, I feel like if I was describing like, I want to get dicked down by like a tall, powerful, beautiful like, it's like that episode of SpongeBob when he takes Pearl to prom and he's like tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah, exactly.
On a tall, dark, and handsome wall.
Straight up. And he promised not only this, but that the impenetrable wall would be paid for by Mexico themselves and not by American citizens.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I forgot.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
Note that the president of Mexico at this time, Vicente Fox, compared Trump to Hitler and said, quote, "I'm not going to pay for that fucking wall."
For sure. Why would he?
Yeah, exactly. While the border wall had already existed and construction on this wall had been happening under several administrations, it was Trump's ferocity for the wall and the way he spoke about Mexican immigrants that ignited the anger in Mexican and American citizens. For perspective here, I have some quotes for you from Donald Trump concerning this wall and his feelings toward Mexican immigrants. I'm probably going to try and do the Trump voice for just like one of them because I don't know if I'm that good at it. "I would build a very great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me. Believe me, and I'll build them very inexpensively. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I'll have Mexico pay for that wall." Okay,
that was pretty good.
Was that pretty good?
I liked it, but
I gotta work on that.
It was. I mean, you don't have far to go. Phoebe is the the impression and accents person.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Next one. "We're going to build a wall, folks. We're going to build a wall. That wall will go up so fast your head will spin."
Woo!
It's so stupid.
And so dumb. I just can't, it's so crazy. So, it's wild to me because Donald Trump was like...
Taylor closes his laptop.
Donald Trump was so good at talking, but had nothing to back it up.
Yeah.
And I feel like Hillary Clinton, for all of the mistakes she had a fuck ton of policy.
Yeah.
But was terrible at talking.
Yeah.
I feel like if they had combined, if they had Dragon Ball Z fucking fusion danced and become one person,
yeah,
they would have been the ultimate fascist leader because holy shit, they were two sides of the same coin. It's crazy. And
it's he's not even, it's not even that he's that good at talking because he for people like us, he sounds really fucking stupid, but he's very good at commanding a crowd.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, he's charismatic for some
totally
people, I guess.
And he's good at using these buzzwords that riles up certain people and stuff like that. And he's good at he's very good at dodging an actual question or dodging saying anything actually.
Yeah, it's just, and he's just he relies on that macho man attitude of being well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it good, we're gonna get down to business.
I'm the best at doing anything ever.
Exactly.
Nobody's better than me at doing this thing.
Exactly. And it's it's just that very much it's just, I feel like it's when your dad is talking about something that he really doesn't know anything about, but he just is good at the buzzwords of being it's all about discipline and getting the job done, and you're Dad, what does that mean though? That wasn't even the question. He's discipline, getting the job done, loyalty. Nobody has loyalty these days, and it's exactly. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Oh my god.
Trump is just the aging dad of the country.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple more quotes for you. "This wall will be 10 feet taller, and every time they protest, it's going to go up a little bit higher."
How would he do that?
That's it. Yeah, I'm
are you gonna build?
You don't know
more?
The physics of how walls work. I don't think he just thinks it's gonna magically grow. The wall's gonna be fuck you.
Or it's or he's just being really poetic, and he's every protest, the wall gets a little bit taller between us. Yeah.
Oh my god. He says, "When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending the best. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people."
Love it.
To which he had to follow up by saying, "I think the Mexicans are going to end up loving Donald Trump."
Jeez.
Oh, and last but not least, maybe the worst, who's to really say? "We have people coming into the country, or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them, but we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people, these are animals."
Whoa. That's some fucking fascist Nazi Germany
that's
speak, dude.
Straight up
dehumanizing
shit. Exactly, which we've talked about before.
Yeah. Ooh.
And it was quotes like these, among many other things Trump did to disparage Mexicans and Mexican immigrants, that inspired many people to take their anger out in the form of art. Which brings me to the exhibits that Taylor and I saw in the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. That was my like NPR transition song.
Do. It's like we should get like a Fuller House or like a Full House little thing where it's like starring Taylor and Phoebe. Like catches us like in a candid thing where I'm like making dinner and I'm like, oh no.
Or I would love like some Hannah Montana transitions.
Oh,
it's like,
for sure.
Oh,
yeah. I wonder if I can find those and if they would get sued for using them on.
I bet we could find ones that are very similar that are like non-licensed.
That we could like buy royalty free.
Oh yeah. I'll just do them. I'll sing them.
A 90s or like early 2000s sitcom transition.
Or like whenever we're talking about something really like really crappy, a crowd being like, ooh.
Yeah. We could get a laugh track for the podcast.
Oh my god. That would be really funny, I think.
Well, I think so too.
Oh my god. Anyway, we gotta fucking take an ad break.
We gotta take a little break.
Crack open another
He's gotta crack open a White Claw. I gotta slow down. I've only had 2 though, so.
But have you eaten dinner?
That's true. I have not eaten dinner.
There you go.
So
that'll get you.
That's always the kicker there. Anyway. Woo!
That's bad.
All right, folks. We are back skis.
We're backaroonie.
Macaroni and cheese.
I found at Harmon's the other day chow cheese, like mac and cheese frozen dinners.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna fucking slap. I have not had it yet, but
all right. Tell me how it is, because
I will.
I want to
it
try
sounds
it.
really good.
Sounds like it would fuck.
Because I miss microwave mac and cheese.
Oh yeah,
it was just good sometimes.
Like the Stofers.
Oh my god.
I used to like eat that when I was a vegetarian. I used to eat that shit for lunch like every day. When I was a preschool teacher, which, you know, most people don't know about
I've
me.
I've never heard this about you.
Exactly. Like, I used to teach preschool, and when I would eat lunch in between my preschool classes, I would eat a lot of Stouffer's macaroni and cheese.
Delicious. I loved Emily's comment on your, like, Facebook post
know,
about that.
Funny.
Where they were
Granted, that was a memory.
I know. It was really funny. Where they were like, oh, you were a preschool teacher? I never knew.
I never knew that about you. Yeah, it's crazy. It was very formative years of my life, so I just talk about it a lot.
We're all just giving you shit. We
love it. I know.
We love it.
I know there's no heart, like, malintent. Like, oh my fucking god, Taylor.
If you talk about being a preschool teacher one more goddamn time.
Lol.
Oh my god. So, getting into some of these pieces that I saw about the border wall at the Museum of Modern Art. Real San Fratello is sort of like an architecture firm. It's like an architecture art firm. It's honestly hard to say because their bio was really weird. I hate to say this, but they had sort of a pretentious bio that makes it very difficult to suss out what they really do.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They were like, something, we're a collective of this. We're an atelier. I was like,
yeah. They're like, we cultivate vibes.
Yeah,
like.
Literally. And they created several border wall inspired projects that were featured in the SF MoMA. Reunite, as I saw it in the MoMA, is a road sign depicting a mother and father running towards their little girl who is running towards them. Taylor, pull up this little picture.
Yes.
For you to view.
I think I recall.
Here's what it looks like.
Yes, I did see that.
Painted with simple lines in black on a yellow background made to evoke the road signs that you would see on highways near the U.S.-Mexico border depicting a mother and a father dragging their child and running. This large yellow sign with the running immigrant family and the word caution at the top was created to alert drivers to look out for migrant families who may be running across the highway. These signs were seen as necessary due to the amount of deaths caused by drivers accidentally hitting people running across these highways, which is obviously a horrible tragedy, and drivers should be alerted that people are running across the road, but the way that these signs were drawn, and I don't know, it just I'll get into a little bit more. But
all right.
So Rael Sanfratello created Reunite, which began as over 150 billboards all across America and eventually scaled down to road sign size to be presented in museums. And so the placard in the MoMA next to this piece reads, quote, Reunite reimagined a California Department of Transportation sign created in 1990 to warn motorists of migrants crossing the highway. 10 signs depicting 2 parents and a child with the word caution were placed along interstates immediately north of the U.S.-Mexico border. The sign became an icon of anti-immigrant sentiment, and the last one was removed in 2018. Rael Sanfratello reorients the figures to show the child running towards the parents, critiquing family separation at the border, and inviting viewers to reflect on the trials of immigration. As Rael states, their sign presents the, quote, story of the relationships that we should be mending and a reminder that we should be designing a reunited states and not a divided states. So as it kind of said in that blurb, that the original sign with the caution and the family running across became sort of this like anti-immigration symbol. So while this sign was important to have to warn people not to fucking hit these people trying to flee their country, it did eventually turn into something more sinister. So, also, I'm being real haters on these people that created these works of art. So sorry, not sorry. But I'm sorry, but a reunited states, not a divided states. I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
It's a little like, I don't know. I mean, it's very like dem soch liberal, like why don't like a Republican and like the Democrats like just sit down and have a beer with each other and like talk it out. And it's very much that energy where it's like, I'm not going to sit down and have a beer with someone who thinks I shouldn't have rights, you know? Like,
exactly. Like, we're not reuniting. Like, it's just, we're ripping families apart. Like, it's a little deeper than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Rael Sanfratello, but anyway. And so this entire exhibit with these several different pieces about the border wall is called Drawing the Line, and it's described by the MoMA like this, quote, much like the policy and geography that define it, the line drawn between Mexico and the United States is malleable, literally shifting with time. Architecture firm Rael Sanfratello has spent over a decade questioning the idea of the border and focusing on the evolving contexts of urbanism in borderlands. Conceived in part as exercises in political subversion through design, Drawing the Line, Rael Sanfratello at the U.S.-Mexico border responds to the consequences of ostensibly permanent boundaries with impermanent histories for cultures and communities at the border. Taken as a whole, the projects shown here offer a conceptual dismantling of the border wall, usurping its meaning, reforming its identity, and stripping away its political power. So, anyway,
long quote.
That's how the MoMA describes what this exhibit was. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of like art museum jargon, but basically what they're saying is that like they've, creating these pieces have like overturned the meaning of what this border wall really means.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so seeing now through my research that the creators of this exhibit is some slightly pretentious, possibly an architecture firm, but we're too edgy to want to put a label on who they are, cast my feelings about these pieces in a little bit of a new light. Who knows if a Mexican immigrant was even consulted on these pieces or for this exhibit. The website for Rael Sanfratello doesn't list the names of the artists that worked on these projects and simply states that they were created by Rael Sanfratello. This could open up a whole other conversation about the art world, about galleries and art museums, about how inaccessible they are to artists with less money, or how large works of art are used for money laundering for the rich, or how inaccessible art museums, art critiquing, and making a living off of art is inaccessible to the general public. But that's a conversation for another episode.
I mean, it makes, like, one thing that I've been, like, frustrated about lately, not to go on too big of a tangent, but well, it's what we do, but is like it's not like a secret, like everybody knows, like the housing market in Salt Lake is fucked.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to live like downtown. And it's very frustrating to me because the people who like work downtown and make art that is like commonly consumed downtown can't even afford to live downtown.
Exactly.
So we're all like going to be driving downtown to do the art for the rich ass motherfuckers to enjoy who can afford to live downtown.
Exactly.
And it's just very like, I don't know, it's that same kind of idea where it's like it's pretentious in the way that like, oh, like it's, you know, a gallery is nice, but like, are you featuring local artists, artists who are people of color, local, you know, whatever it is,
people that
like
are, like actually impacted by
exactly like
these things that you're
maybe not
creating.
And I know it's the Museum of Modern Art, it's kind of like a bigger institution, but nonetheless.
But again, it's like it's on these bigger institutions to be like raising the voices of the people who are less privileged. Like,
you would think, right? Yeah. You would think that you would want to, but yeah.
But, you know, you're a massive art institution. So
massive art institution. Almost a corporation in a way. Like
essentially you're just, I mean, it's money laundering, and we
it's a business.
Get way more into that later, but that's, again,
maybe we will someday.
Episode. Nevertheless, these works evoked an emotion in me enough for me to document them and look back on them now. So, moving forward with this whole thing. So one of the other pieces that I have now discovered was also created by Rael Sanfratello that intrigued me was the board-er wall game. Note the spelling of board-er, which is board and then in parentheses because it's a board game. The board-er wall game is quite literally a board game with metal playing pieces, several decks of colored cards, and a board that folds up in the middle to create a wall between the two sides. Taylor, I will show you a little picture.
Please do. I do think I recall seeing this one. Yeah, no, I do remember. Okay.
And then I can slide one more where you can kind of see better, like how there is actually like a physical, like
actual
wall
physical
type
wall.
Of thing in the middle.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Which I thought was creative.
Very.
So, on the left is a Mexican flag at the end of the board, presumably maybe as the starting point. And on the right, the American flag is on the other end, maybe as the finishing point to the game. I don't know. I scoured the internet for details on how the game is played or for any additional research on this piece, but I honestly came up with nothing. It was really weird. Even on the Rael Sanfratello website, it's not listed under their creations tab. So maybe they decided it was like too cringy. I don't know.
I guess, yeah. Interesting.
Not sure. Perhaps the most pretentious and tone-deaf project of Rael Sanfratello is the Teeter-Totter Wall. Rael Sanfratello, their website describes the project like this, quote, "The trade and labor relationships between the U.S. and Mexico are in delicate balance. Mexicans throng to the U.S. to find work, but often long to live comfortably in their own country. U.S. industry and agriculture is dependent upon immigrant labor pools, yet the Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol, and Immigration and Naturalization Services has made it increasingly difficult to attract foreign labor. The Teeter-Totter Wall demonstrates the delicate balances between the two nations." Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best way to describe what's going on between the U.S. and Mexico.
Yeah, well, and it's like, I guess it's not like, they're not like wrong in what they're saying, you know,
Sure.
there is like some, like, you know, American agriculture does rely on immigrant workers and different things like that, but
yes.
It's, I mean, I don't know, yeah, it's just, it's strange, the term, because it seems like the power dynamic isn't like a teeter-totter, it's more like us being like the world superpower and kind of like, I mean, we're notorious for bullying other countries. Sorry, Moonshine's got
She's
zoomies.
Going crazy.
She's got big zoomies right now.
And I don't know, I think it's more, it's less about what's going on with the trade industry between the two countries and more about how the United States is like literally putting Mexican immigrants in concentration camps. I don't
True.
know. But anyway, here's what this looks like.
Oh, yes, I do recall.
Yeah. So I will tell you in a moment what we're looking at here. So the Design Museum in London gave the Teeter-Totter Wall the Beazley Design of the Year Award, which is presented to projects that show powerful messages of change. The website for the Design Museum does tell me that Rael Sanfratello did actually work with a Mexican designer on this project, maybe only because they literally had to, because half of it is in Mexico.
Yeah.
Beyond the border, so they can't get over there. The designer's name is not listed on the Design Museum website, and the involvement of this Mexican designer isn't even mentioned at all on the RSF website. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's just so strange. Yeah, because I feel like with art, especially, like, credit is such a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and they don't anywhere for any of these pieces or any of the other pieces that this firm has put together. They don't list any of the artists.
Weird.
Like, it's just under Rael Sanfratello, which is, by the way, it's created by these two people. I never wrote down their names, and honestly, I don't give a fuck. But someone Rael and then somebody else Sanfratello, and they got together and they created this thing. But it's all just listed under their two last names, which is kind of
it just is
stupid.
A little weird because it's like, I don't know. Again, like, credit and notoriety is such a big thing in the art world that I'm surprised that they don't at least put, like, fine print of who did it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. So, the Teeter-Totter Wall was an installation at the border wall of 3 large bright pink beams stuck between the slats of the border fence with bicycle seats on either side. These beams were installed to work as teeter-totters with 1 seat on each side of the border. Does that make sense? Am I describing that well?
I think you got it. Yeah.
Great. For all of 20 whole minutes, by the way, Mexicans and Americans were invited to play with each other through the wall before the installation was deconstructed and lugged back to a crisp white gallery somewhere in California. So literally, this fucking installation went up for, and actually in the article that I was reading, less than 20 minutes. They put these fucking teeter-totters in. Cute little Mexican children and cute little American children came, played teeter-totter with each other on either side of the fucking border, the fucking violent-ass border, and then they packed it up and they left and went back to their comfortable Californian homes.
I was going to say, got their good Insta photos.
Oh, and I am about to fucking get into that.
Yeah, that's, oof. That's just such a bad look. Like, why wouldn't you leave them there? Like,
yeah. Which, and I don't know the semantics of all of it. Maybe there was some kind of, like, legality. But again, it's like, if you're going to be creating art that is, like, a protest about the border wall, then you shouldn't be caring about the legality of leaving this fucking stupid-ass pink teeter-totter.
Exactly what we were talking about.
Yes.
Like, if you're trying to disrupt. You know?
Like, this is so fucking performative. You're like, oh, let's put this up for 20 minutes and it'll be a cute thing, and then we'll pack it up so nobody gets in trouble.
Yeah,
fuck you.
Stupid.
Sorry, Rael. Nah, sorry. Actually, fuck you. Anyway, calm down, Phoebe.
I didn't get more riled up, Phoebe.
Okay,
actually.
I will.
I'm here
I will, actually, because I'm about to.
Everybody loves riled up Phoebe.
That's true.
So.
They do. That's why you're here.
That's why you're here.
Anyway, so as I was saying, most of the participants in this 20-minute fucking playtime were young, adorable children who were likely arranged to be the participants of this. An article on artnews.com by Max Pearl sums up my feelings about this piece pretty well, so I'm going to quote him just because I feel like he's very well spoken about this. The duo, which is referring to the two people that created Rael Sanfratello, the duo's video of Teeter-Totter Wall seems engineered to go viral. With its upbeat message, bright palette, and easy-to-grasp concept, it's irresistible to liberal centrist do-gooders. Importantly, it involves adorable children with missing baby teeth smiling at the camera. That cuteness makes it great for social media, but these kids are too young to understand the significance of the border fence, or at least its more abstract function as something more than a metal divider. Their innocence makes our guilt more acute. Because as adults in a democracy, we have the means to tear the fence down, but we're too lazy or too inept. Ultimately, the conceit of this project is that we're powerless to do anything meaningful about the way this country treats migrants. If we could affect substantial change, why would we content ourselves with something so purely symbolic as this?
Very true.
Yeah. So, I mean, that pretty much sums up my whole feelings. It's like you're doing nothing. It's something to make you feel nice. Like, we created this little playground for the kids that were literally forcing to stay out of our country in an extremely violent way. And also they're literal children who cannot conceptualize what this border wall actually means. They just think they're having fun. And again, we're putting this up for less than 20 minutes so we can like feel warm in our hearts. So we can feel good about ourselves.
Basically. It's very like Black Screen Tuesday during the Black Lives Matter protest vibes, where it's just like
you posted a black square.
Black square to feel good about yourself for a day.
What is that doing for anyone?
It's exactly
at all.
Like it doesn't. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's like maybe the sentiment behind this piece could have actually had some kind of impact if it was still there, so that these children could interact with each other through this wall and actually maybe have conversations with each other about the lives that they're living and question why there's a wall between them at all. But no, you only gave them this allotted amount of time, so they couldn't
less
think
than 20
deeper
minutes
into what's actually going on here. It's just like, hee, this is a fun thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, very much like the idea of we have an art piece that's supposed to make you think, or make you like a call to action, versus doing something and making art about what you're doing.
Exactly.
That's like the whole difference in what we're seeing here.
Exactly. I mean, which it worked out so perfectly. Our two things
are
so beautifully dichotomized of each other. This is another quote from Max Pearl, who wrote that article. Quote, with its spectacle of sentimentality, Teeter-Totter Wall fails to provide any insight about who might be responsible for this tragedy, who benefits from it, and how we got here as a country. As John Berger once wrote in an essay on war photography, these types of artistic gestures accuse nobody and everybody. They provide evidence of the general human condition rather than identifying causes. That's what makes Teeter-Totter Wall so shareable on social media. Nobody, not even the vigilantes patrolling the desert looking for migrants to murder, could find it controversial.
Exactly. It wasn't created to offend or to upset or to disrupt. It was created to be again, like what you were saying. It's like a fucking, I don't know, just a thing to make you feel good for a second.
Yeah.
You look at it and you're like, oh, look at these cute kids. It's just I don't know. It's the same as all this good news bullshit that people post on Facebook, where it's teachers, students pool their money together and do a fundraiser for their teacher who has cancer and can't afford it. And it's
you're missing the whole
you're
fucking
missing
point.
the whole point.
You're missing the point.
It's the same thing.
It's these trauma porn articles where, exactly as you were saying, or it's little boy with physical disabilities or whatever creates a lemonade stand to pay for his medical bills, and it's oh, that's so sweet. No, you're fucking missing the point, which is this little fucking kid can't get the medical care that he needs, and so he himself, a child, has to create something to get himself medical care. It's exactly that. You're looking at this thing, you're like, oh, look, these children on the other side of the border wall are playing together. That's not what matters. What matters here is that there's a fucking border wall between two countries that are literally made up, also on land that we stole via violence from these people.
Yeah.
I'm getting
absolutely
so upset.
It's insane.
Yeah. So my part this week turned out a little bit more cynical than I had originally intended. But through my research, it just became clearer and clearer to me how thoughtless and virtue signaling these pieces really were. Much like the infographic watercolor Instagrammable quotes or the black square about Black Lives Mattering, these art pieces are about as effective in amounting change as those posts are. They give you a sense of accomplishment and complacency while doing literally nothing to help the muse who suffered and continues to suffer to inspire this art. Making you feel bad for as long as it takes to hit share, and then being able to clap the dust off your hands once it's posted to your story and say, well, that's enough activism for today.
It's just, I don't know. I saw this tweet once that was really funny. That was Instagram infographics have me setting boundaries with my cat. And I thought that was exactly. So much time and energy goes into this Instagram infographic spreading awareness thing that, again, you go to a protest and you see like 30 people there, and it's like,
yep,
Instagram infographics aren't disrupting the system.
No.
Being at a protest and fucking something up, causing a ruckus, as I said earlier, is going to like is going to actually make a difference,
Yeah. And I mean, I could fucking go on about Instagram activism, but as I've said for like the third or fourth time now, that's a conversation for another episode. But also, which again, I will quell this for now until we have another time to actually fully talk about this, but like, literally, not fucking joking, not being a conspiracy theorist here, literally, so many of these Instagram fucking things that are shared onto people's pages are made, it's fucking ops, it's fucking FBI people making up shit for you to be upset about within the leftist circle, so we continue to fight with each other. I'm not fucking kidding you. I saw one time that was about why pegging is a term that we shouldn't use because something about the patriarchy and gender and this and that, and I was like, you have to be kidding me. This has to be satirical.
You have to stop.
This has to be satirical, and it's not satirical.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all you people are doing is you see something and it has the right buzzwords to make you share it on your Instagram story, so you feel like you're fucking doing something powerful, but all you are doing is continuing to tear us apart more than we already are. Every time you share one of these fucking Instagram infographics without fully reading what it is, without actually researching into what it's about and actually doing something, instead of just sharing something to your Instagram story to make you feel good, you are actively contributing to why we have fucking the issues that we have today. I swear to God. So stop. And you know what else? Fucking stop shaming people for not sharing these stupid ass fucking infographics on their fucking Instagram stories. Because here's the thing. The people that are taking the time to share this fucking shit on their Instagram story aren't doing jack shit. And the people that are actually out there feeding the homeless, fucking putting shit together to make sure that that people with uteruses can still have abortions, they're not posting about it on fucking Instagram. So grow up, get off the internet, and actually fucking do something to help us.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely.
I got so mad.
It's okay. No, I'm here for it.
It makes me crazy, and I could literally do a whole fucking episode about this because this has grown over the past couple of years to completely destroy the movements that we had going.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's like I saw a bunch of shit when it happened with that fucking stupid Black Lives Matter black square thing.
Yep.
It's like literally, okay, 1 million people are going to post a black square, which is going to literally silence every fucking conversation that's going to happen. You can't tell me that's not a fucking psyop. You cannot tell me that was not some...
It was.
It had to be. Because, like, why else would they do that?
Yep.
Why else would that become a thing that we were all going to do?
Exactly. And that's the same thing with like 90% of this fucking shit that you see. It's a fucking psyop. Mm-hmm. Please open your eyes. Please. And read into shit before you share it on your fucking stupid ass Instagram story. And also, we got to be done after this. Also, 5 fucking people sharing the exact same goddamn post on their Instagram story to each other because they have followers who have similar views to each other isn't gonna do anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Again, please organize.
Yes.
It's one thing to be like, yes, these are bad, but there are so many other things you can do. You can organize. Mm-hmm. You can, again, start feeding the hungry. Mm-hmm. Do mutual aid. Do all the shit that, everybody talks about. Mm-hmm. Just go out there and actually do it. Even fucking going out and, like, giving out literature and, like, things to read about.
Yes.
It's probably better than Instagram infographics.
Exactly. There's like the most minimal things that you can do that will actually make an impact. Like, for instance, like fucking free breakfast, like the Black Panthers.
Exactly.
Which I get that can be a lot to organize. So I don't know, driving to McDonald's and getting 10 McChickens and passing them out to your local like encampment. Even fucking a friend who's homesick with COVID Venmoing them $20 so they can get DoorDash, or dropping them off food at their house, or growing a garden in your backyard and giving vegetables to your friends or whatever, or people that need food. Like, there is the tiniest things that you can do that are actually extremely impactful and will be worlds more impactful than your stupid fucking Instagram or pink teeter-totter.
Yeah. A huge thing, like, I went to one of the homeless encampments here, in Salt Lake, and I went to like Savers and bought a bunch of like suitcases and just like went and handed them out to people, because
that's
like
a great one.
How are they gonna move, especially if there's like police harassing them who are gonna like make them relocate? Like, how are they gonna move all their shit?
Right.
Just buying a bunch of suitcases and handing them out to people. Like, that's literally,
and
it
that's
was like
huge.
$30 for like a bunch of Savers suitcases. Like, it's really not, you just have to like go out and do it. It's not even that difficult. You just have to like be like, I'm gonna go do it.
Right. Because I think like the thought of organizing, or when people use the term organizing, it sounds so daunting. And I get that, because I feel the same way sometimes. It's just like, fuck, like I don't know how to organize people. Like, whatever.
Like, what does that mean?
But literally, it's like, get a group of your friends together and buy some shit from Savers, or make a little food together and go give it out, or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be this giant organization. It doesn't have to be Black Panthers level. We hope that would be cool, but like, start small. Start with whatever you can do, and I promise that's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you said it the best.
And get off Instagram.
And maybe chill out on the social media activism, because Twitter leftists have
had enough.
Have really discouraged me.
Oh my god!
I think was that all that you had?
I mean, yeah, I'm done.
Well, anyway, Phoebe, where can I? So now that we've just told you to get off Instagram, where can I view some of these pictures?
That's so funny.
Lol.
You can look at our stupid fucking pictures on our stupid fucking Instagram at Remarks Podcast. I promise we will never post a stupid infographic, and please don't share a stupid infographic if we ever do. And also, if we do, shoot us in the heads.
Yeah. Murder us on the spot.
But if you want to look at pictures that pertain to this episode that you just listened to, check out our Instagram at Remarks Podcast. You can also go to our TikTok, which has like 3 videos at Remarks Podcast. Taylor, tell us about Twitter stuff.
Twitter.com is at Remarks Pod. I do some tweeting every now and again.
Every now and then.
But you can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, please. And I have a YouTube channel called The Lefty Agenda. You can also check out the videos there. And then and then you can also subscribe to our Patreon. $5 a month. The cool little guy subscription.
Yeah, that's right.
Is the name of it.
That. Which, by the way, we will fucking actually reallocate those funds into our community to like do good things. We will actually use the money that we have from this podcast to like help people instead of.
For sure. I don't know. We can donate the money. Neither of us like need the money.
No.
So like we can donate that money. We can go out and buy. Like, honestly, if you subscribe to the Patreon and you're giving us the money, tell us what you want us to do with it. Like,
exactly. I mean, fuck. Speaking of, this is like a long tail end of this episode.
Oh, it's fine.
Who cares? Speaking of like what we were saying with taxes and everything, if you want your money that you give to us each month to like go to something, like you're giving us this shit, tell us what you want us to do with it. And if it's done something evil, like, we're down. You know?
For sure. I'm not going to, like, push an old lady into the road or something, but...
Yeah, but if you're like, hey, I would like my $5 this month to, like, go to buying a fucking McChicken or whatever to give to a person that doesn't have a place to live or money to buy food, done.
Yeah. Done. Instantly. Yeah. For sure.
Anyway.
But speaking of, thank you to our patrons.
Tere Soltero.
Woo! Andrew Vass.
Emily Doran.
And Justin Vass. Thank you so much.
You're the best.
We love you.
Woo. And we're about to record a bonus episode right now for you to listen to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It should be very funny. So.
Mwah. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
We love all of you.
Thanks for letting me scream. And K love you.
Bye.